on a rainy Friday night here in the Philadelphia area. What's going on?
Not much. Just trying to, you know, actually, actually trying to decipher whether some of the myths and the uh, propaganda that's being dispersed about coronavirus, whether it's good to have masks on, it's good not to have masks on, it's good to socially herd the virus. Nobody really knows. That's the mystery of the virus. But I'm not really concerned about the virus so much as I am concerned about attendance at the NFL football games.
Well,
And I'll
well,
tell you what's going to happen. And before you ask, your Nobel Peace Prize, journalism questions, I want to just say that the NFL did an unbelievable thing this week that nobody really said was the biggest story of the week, which was the NFL was willing to give back money. The NFL doesn't give back money. Okay, so they had a ticket policy that said, hey, we're going to give back money to anybody who doesn't feel comfortable, doesn't want to have the chance to go get COVID virus. You know what that means, though? The lawyers stepped in and they said, hey, that's fine, but how do we cover our butt? And that was what this whole week was about. How does the NFL and liability cover the NFL?
so you
Okay.
real quickly,
This
Glenn. So because as you think they were very comfortable, and we're going to get into the schedule, releasing the schedule.
Oh, absolutely. But before they release the schedule, let's do the timeline. Right before they released the schedule, they said that they put out a public statement that said, hey, listen, anybody who's uncomfortable with going to the games, you'll get a full refund on your tickets. You know what that means? Let's read between the lines. That means attend the games at your own damn risk. And what's going to be on the back of all these tickets, trust me on this, there's going to be a big red sign with like skeletons and all kinds of crap, and it says, attend the games, the NFL games at your own risk. COVID virus is still present without a vaccine. You are attending these games at your own risk, and the NFL and all affiliates are not responsible should you get sick and it be determined that the sickness was caused at an NFL venue or something to do with the NFL. The NFL is not responsible for COVID because we are absolutely 100% telling you it's a deadly virus, yet attend at your own risk.
The beginning of August is the preseason. Do you expect NFL fans to be in the stadium for the first week of preseason? I'm not even talking about the regular season yet. Preseason.
The 1918 pandemic, the Spanish flu, the second wave is way worse than the first wave because of lack of information. Here's the problem with Americans. We're stupid. We're stubborn. Nobody wants to stay inside. And society, I'm a sociologist. Society in general, and excuse my dip, I had to put it in Copenhagen. Excuse my sociological background, but Americans refuse to stay inside. When you say, okay, we're gonna open the beaches for the weekend
They flock
in
to
Miami,
him. They flock to him.
yeah, and not even flock. It's let's jump on top of each other on the beaches, and play volleyball and beach ball but to the credit of the American people, there comes a point where whenever we're at war, and when if you watch the politics and some of the crooked news, Trump declared a war against the virus. So guess what? As Americans, by definition, when there's a war or an enemy, we really throw out all precautions and say, F it, we're going in. If we die, we die. But according to statistics, 1% of us may die. So as Americans, we're sick fucks. We're going to go in we're going to go in and we'll say, okay, I don't care if we die, but we're not giving up our freedoms.
Let me
We're
ask
not
you.
giving up.
Let me ask you a question. If you, maybe not now, because obviously we're still kind of in the throes of it, but in September, where maybe it's a little bit more lax than we are now. Glenn, you got 2 tickets to go to the game to take you and one of your kids. Maybe are you going to go?
Absolutely. No, and it's funny because of all the COVID viruses and all the pandemic, the spread of it all. I wear my masks. I make my kid wear the mask, and Wegmans of all places, a Northeast store, which has great produce, has
great food. We just got
great food.
Me and my wife just got a delivery from Wegmans.
Not
Great
a delivery,
stuff.
but if you've been into a Wegmans, like you go in, everything's sprayed down. There's hand sanitizer everywhere, and then if someone should bring a cart from the outside to go in, they immediately they're cart Nazis. If you bring a cart from the parking lot into the line where the people are going in, they flag you. It's tremendous. So no, there's a lot of the great companies, the ones that are going to last, the Wegmans, the Costco's, the Walmarts, the Microsofts, the Googles, the Amazons. These are the companies that are going to come out in the end, and they're going to be fine. But just be smart, and once everybody starts socially distancing and washing their hands, this thing's going to go away, like a rash that you use a little. What do you use on your rashes? I know you got tons of rashes.
Nah, not me. You must have me
Okay.
confused for someone else. Let's let's segue in. The NFL schedule was released last night. We see Tom Brady getting love from the networks. He could have gone on the Bengals and they still would have gotten about 10 primetime games. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, no,
It's unbelievable. Brady's ratings, you know what I mean? The Eagles got one Monday night game. They've been in the playoff. They won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, in the playoffs every year. Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay. They get 2 and 3 weeks. It's ridiculous. I think it's in November. They're on twice. It's unbelievable.
Calm down there, my Padre. Do you want to see Tom Brady, or do you want to see
Carson Wentz?
No. Even worse. You're going to see Joe Burrow play in Cincinnati.
I've seen Brady. I've seen Brady play for 20 years. I'm going to see Burrow.
Yeah, but just shut up. You want to see, but he's in Tampa Bay with weapons, and let's see if he's physically fit and still, within the last 3 or 4 year production wise. He's going to be unstoppable.
Well, the NFL.
And by the way, they drafted offensive lineman, which means he's going to have a 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 more seconds in the pocket to sit there and pick apart the D. Oh yeah, but you know what? The guy's a monster.
This is what I'm waiting for, Glenn. The NFL, they have these flex games at the end of the year. When Tom Brady at 49 years old or 54, whatever the heck he is this year, is limping on the sidelines. Let's see. I can't wait to see the NFL flex the Tampa Bay Buccaneers off of their games and whatnot later in the year. That's my prediction.
Yeah, but you know what your prediction is? Absolute ignorance.
Well, we'll see.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
We'll see if
Brady's a master of who led the league last year in intentional grounding?
I don't care who did.
Oh no!
It was probably Brady. But here, I'm going to make a bet right now. Let's make a bet since we love to wager, me and you.
Okay, well, hold on.
But between the 3 old geezer quarterbacks, Rivers, Breeze, and Brady, 2 of them will not be starting in the final week of the season. I guarantee you that.
Guarantee me that?
Yes. And I'm going to go.
Okay.
I'm just looking on. Okay, we'll put something on.
Because Breeze and Brady don't get hurt.
Well, they've also never played when they were 74 years old either.
Okay, but you also understand they also loaded up on an offensive line, and Brady may have the best weapons in the history of his
But
life.
they're getting Glenn. You play quarterback in the league, they're going to get hit. I don't care if they have the greatest offensive line in the history of the league. They're going to get hit, Glenn. You know that better than anybody. I can't believe I have to tell you that.
I do know that better than anybody. But when you have a broken down left tackle, a broken down right tackle, no youth, then that's when you get broken up. And then you have makeshift offensive guards because you spend all your money at wide receiver, at running back, at safety, at corner. So the dynamic is different. They drafted the first round, the Patriots drafted an offensive lineman. Tom Brady's there. He's loaded with weapons, with tradable guys at tight end that can bring him more weapons. So I can almost guarantee you with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady working together, I'll bet you this: Brady leads the league in offensive passing yards. How about that in your eyepiece? The only one that can beat him is Breeze, in my opinion. Well, and maybe Dak because he's loaded too.
This song is and we're gonna go to week 1 in a second. Giselle have a lot of ice bags ready this year because the old man's going to need them. Hey, that's just my prediction.
Giselle. Yeah, for his balls because she's going to want all kinds of wood when he gets home. So I don't know. If
this is it's a family show.
No, it's not.
It's a
but
family.
Anyway, if they want another baby, that's how you got to basically. Over under. What's the over under? Do we have action on the over under on wins and losses and everything?
Yeah, I do have that. I do have that. Kansas City.
I'm ready for another lock. By the way, my Russian underdog the other night, he won. So I'm 5-0 Russian ping pong.
We'll get that tomorrow. It's too late for that now.
No, it's not. It's never too late.
Well, let's get to some real lines. Week 1, first game of the year, Kansas City and Houston. I mean, what are they doing to Bill O'Brien? I can't wait for that first game. Houston's going to jump out to like a 13-0 lead, and O'Brien's going to go for 4th and 1 on his own 33-yard line, and that will be that. They're playing some sick joke on it. I mean, actually, he deserves it.
Don't start with Bill O'Brien. He's got Watson at quarterback, right?
Yeah, and he had Watson at quarterback in the playoff game. Up 20. Okay. What were they up? 23-0 or something? 20-0.
Don't start with this playoff game crap. It's like, you know what? Once you get to the playoffs, everybody's even, and then everybody, all the coaches and all the defensive guys and all the offensive guys, everybody's in tune. There's 70% of the league that doesn't have a chance to get to that game. So the guys that have a chance to get to that game have the weapons, and they have the wherewithal to win it. So don't start in with your with that hat.
Would you would you? Oh, stop with my hat. This is my Cuban hat. Would you lay 10 points for the Kansas City Chiefs on Week 1 against the Houston Texans on a Thursday night in Kansas City?
In KC? No.
So
but that's in Kansas City's playing in Kansas City is like playing in Russia.
So I'm saying you would lay the 10 points.
I would. But you're talking. But then again, turn who they play the next week.
Well, we'll go. Actually, it's funny on this app here. I actually have Week 2 lines as well. That's unbelievable. You can bet games, and you don't even know who the heck the quarterbacks will get hurt. Between now and then. So it's good action.
There's at least 1 or 2 ACLs by the quarterback.
I'm sure. San Francisco 8.5 over the Cardinals. The Lions 2.5 over the Bears. Let's see what else we got here. Ravens are laying 9 to Baker Mayfield and the Browns.
That's a lock.
Who do you like? The Ravens.
The Ravens defense is nasty.
Vikings laying 3.5 to the Packers. The Colts.
Yeah, flip a coin.
The Colts laying 7 to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville signed Mike Glenn, and mark my words, will be the next Josh McCown. He's the guy who's going to wind up playing for 17 teams. Being a backup, playing until like he's 42 years old.
That's right.
You had some of those guys you ran across in your day. Trying to think when you were playing, who were those guys? Frank.
The backup. The
Frank Reich
backup
was
guy,
he only played for two or three teams, Frank Reich.
yeah, but you know what? He was considered by Bill Polian, who was considered the best GM of all time. Frank Reich was considered the best backup quarterback in the history of football.
But
He came in and had some unbelievable comebacks. One in the playoffs against, I believe, it was the Oilers, and he came back from a 38-3 deficit.
35. Yeah.
So,
35-0. I think they won 38-35, right? 30 something like that.
yeah, whatever it was. But anyway, Frank Reich, and that's why we keep talking about these teams that, like, for instance, the Saints, they brought in Jameis Winston, who nobody wanted, but Sean Payton's a genius. He knows the guy can play.
Absolutely.
What he has to do is get Drew Brees to take Jameis Winston and just put him through a simple QB 101, how to act, how not to act. And, oh, by the way, you're on Bourbon Street, so you're never allowed to ever step on Bourbon Street.
Except if you're the Philadelphia Eagles in the 1981 Super Bowl.
Yeah, well,
against the Raiders. Let's get back to some of these lines really quick. Indianapolis laying 7 at Jacksonville. Carolina laying 1.5 home to the Las Vegas Raiders. If we're allowing the stadium, Glenn, I think you might be there week 1, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll be there. And Carolina's a lock. Carolina will be so good defensively, and the Raiders just going from West Coast to East Coast is a big disadvantage. So, in my opinion, Matt Rule will have his team rested. He understands all the aspects. He played for he coached for Tom Coughlin in New York for a year before he went back to Temple. So he understands NFL. He understands the personnel. He understands the guys in the league. He understands how to treat them. So he'll have them ready for week 1. Everyone's saying, "Oh, the Raiders are going to beat the Panthers." No, they won't. The Panthers will beat the Raiders in the first week.
All indications are that Tyrod Taylor is going to start for the San Diego Chargers, but would be pretty cool if somehow Justin Herbert can beat him out to start the season, because the Los Angeles Chargers start at 3.5-point favorites at the Cincinnati Bengals. Would love to see a Herbert Burrow matchup in week 1, Glenn.
That probably won't happen because Tyrod's a good player, and Herbert is raw. So, it doesn't hurt to start him, but it also doesn't hurt to have Herbert with a package. Get him in there, get his feet wet. You'll see these younger guys, and this is the beauty of having a salary cap on the rookies. You can go out there and play them in the preseason. You're not paying them $1 billion. It's not. Who's the guy from the Raiders? They picked to give him $80 million. Was the first round quarterback? No, before that, he was one of the biggest.
Jamarcus Russell, the guy could throw the ball.
Russell.
The guy could throw the ball out of the stadium.
Right. So Herbert, I think he's way better than that, but he could. You don't want to throw a guy out there that could be, a guy like that. So Tyrod Taylor, some of these guys that are out there, they'll probably start the first game or two. But if Herbert makes progress, and I think he will, they're going to be itching to put him in. And Tyrod's actually an educator for a younger quarterback.
Well, he did that. He was supposed to do that with Baker Mayfield. That lasted 2 games. So.
Yeah, well, Baker Mayfield's got a brain like a cement brick. So, yeah, but so if that kid, once he matures, I love Baker Mayfield, but he's just, he's like an older quarterback.
Well, you know what? It has to be this year. You're in your 3rd year. This is the year you have to make a move if you're Baker Mayfield. Have to.
Yeah, and if his head coach got canned, and then you want somebody who's got a quarterback coach, a guy who knows what he's doing, a guy who can keep Baker Mayfield in the pocket.
Well, think about this, Glenn. They have 2 great running backs in Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They got 2 stud receivers in Landry and OBJ. They have two big tight ends now with Hooper, who they gave a lot of money to, and they got David Njoku coming back, and now they got two new tackles to protect him. So this is, if Baker Mayfield can't do it this year, he's gonna fall into there's going to be a big thing next year, because after this year the Browns have to decide to pick up his fifth-year option, and he could be Trubisky'd, if you know what I mean. So
this is huge for him.
So
he's got all the makings of a franchise guy, but when you watch him in the pocket, and I've watched this guy, I have the ability to get to see all these over the stadium, all 22s, and Mayfield so undisciplined in the pocket that he's got Beckham running wild. He's got running backs. He's
Jarvis
got all these
Landry,
weapons.
Hunt, Nick Chubb.
Oh my God, he's got all these weapons, and then you see Baker. He'll drive back, and then all of a sudden, instead of hanging in the pocket and delivering the ball to all these open receivers, he'll go back. He'll feel a little pressure, and then he'll just take off, and then inaccuracy comes in like you wouldn't believe. And I've seen him where he's had Odell Beckham Jr. wide open, or some of these other players wide open, and he's inaccurate because he gets in the pocket, he's jumpy, he's all over the place. But once and he's young, so once he determines and once he understands, stay in the pocket, maneuver in the pocket, and then deliver accurately from the pocket. It's the same thing that I'm down here. I'm in Baltimore. I'm watching the MVP. I'm watching the MVP of the league deliver, and he can do a million things. Lamar Jackson is one of the greatest athletes on the planet, but all these quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield's one of them. All these young quarterbacks that these teams are taking, they're great athletes. They can run all the run option, the multiple things. But when it comes down to breaking it down, you've got to deliver from the pocket. And Baker Mayfield's just been so inaccurate from the pocket, he's killing his team. So once he decides and understands, stay in the pocket, maneuver in the pocket, and then just wait for these great athletes to get open. And he'll drop back, and then he'll start running around, and then off balance, trying to make great throws, and he's inaccurate. But to his receivers' credit, they're making some great catches when they really don't have to be.
And now he is a coach, and Kevin Stefanski, who, when he was the offense coordinator in Minnesota, he was looking to run to set the pass up, and he's got two good backs. So if that could take a lot of pressure off of Baker Mayfield. Let's just quickly run down some of these other games. The Jarrett Stidham-led New England Patriots 6.5 over the Miami Dolphins. Philadelphia Eagles 6.5 at Washington, and that will be an interesting game as that game gets forward. Let's see, here we got Seattle 1 at Atlanta. The Buffalo Bills laying 6.5 to the non-Glenn Foley led Jets. The New Orleans Saints. They may both get hurt in this game. Saints are 4.5 over the Buccaneers. I think Social Security is going to sponsor that game with 41-year-old Drew Brees and 43-year-old Tom Brady. Glenn.
Yeah, that game could be like 55-45.
Could be.
Yeah, because you have Drew Brees and Tom Brady, and they're both loaded with offensive weapons. So Brees and Brady, they're just not going to, show up to the game and lay eggs.
Yeah,
these guys know what they're doing. Arians knows what he's doing. Brady and all his weapons, okay. And by the way, they took an offensive lineman, so he's
you mentioned that.
Yeah, he's gonna have a lot of weapons on offense, and that offensive division is deadly because Brees, Brady, Matt Ryan,
and Bridgewater,
and then you got Teddy B. So that's going to be one of the most interesting divisions to watch, and it'll be interesting to see because they all got to play each other twice, and then Carolina didn't get any Monday Night Footballs where the Bucs got 2, the Saints got 2, and people were saying, why didn't the Panthers get any Monday Night Football games? I said, well, you go by the numbers.
They're only projected to win maybe 5 or 6 games when you look at some of these over-unders.
No, they'll win more than that because they got a the only chance that teams can beat them is to outscore them. They didn't get any corners. They got some defensive guys, and Matt Rule's defense and the defensive coordinator for the Panthers is one of the best in the game.
It was the first team in modern day history to have at least 7 or 8 draft picks, and they're all one side of the ball. Every one of their picks was on defense.
Yeah, and then when you look at what they did in the offseason, they picked up a bunch of offensive linemen, two offensive linemen from the San Diego Chargers because the O-line coach is now with the Panthers. So they picked up Okung, and they picked up a guard who's played, I think, 66 of 76 games available, but he can move. So you can play different positions on the offensive line. And I think the Panthers are going to be one of the surprise teams. And their defense is going to be really good. The only issue with the Panthers are the corners. If their corners play, and Phil Snow's got a magical way of getting these defensive fronts to confuse and to get these guys to play. And Matt Rule's a wizard in terms of toughness, and making sure that these guys are going full speed all the time. And Rule's been like that since I've known him. So I'm not worried about the Carolina Panthers as much because I know they're going to come out. Every team, in my opinion, is 8-8. The quarterbacks play very well, the offenses play well, and then the defenses just hold their own. The Panthers are dynamic because they got a good quarterback. They got one of the best running backs in the league. They're loaded up at wide receiver. So we'll see what happens. That's one of the tough divisions in all of the league. They got so many good quarterbacks. So we'll see what happens.
All right, I just want to run down the last 3 games and a couple other things we want to touch on. Dallas Cowboys laying 2.5 on the first Sunday night game to open up the new stadium in L.A. 2 Monday night games. The Steelers are laying 4 at the New York Giants. And the Denver Broncos laying 3.5 to the Tennessee Titans. So obviously it's going to be a great, hopefully a great opening week in September for the NFL. One story that you sent to me yesterday, very, very interesting and strange story, which actually, not shockingly, you have some kind of personal tie to it, of a trainer in New York, a fitness trainer, who's planning, and if they have it, let's hope they even have the New York Marathon, is going to run the New York City Marathon on all 4s. So I found that to be nuts. So I'm going to say to myself, why are you sending me this story? And then you text me back, oh, he played for me at Valley Forge Military Academy. So dive into this story a little bit, Glenn.
Well, I lost touch with a bunch of the guys, but I saw an article in the New York Times. Okay, one of my slot receivers, he was a corner. He got a full ride to him. He had a bunch of offers. And he's a white kid. He ran 4.25 in the 40. He was a D1, dead stone cold D1 lockdown corner. Okay, he went to LIU, Long Island University, on a full scholarship. And then I hadn't heard him I hadn't heard from him for 5 or 6 years. Well, he was at Valley Forge. I coached at Valley Forge, and the kid was an unbelievable athlete. He was a lockdown corner. If he was still playing football, he would be in the NFL and could possibly be a lockdown corner. Now, he's a white kid, but he runs 4.25, and he was a funny kid because
4.25.
I would bring out all 4.25, and I would bring all these wide receivers out. And I would bring this kid out with me, and he would be up against some of the top wide receivers in the area. And I would bring this kid out from Valley Forge, and not only would he be not only is he a great player, but he would talk smack to the best Division I wide receivers that were coming out that year in high school, and he would come out and he would talk smack to these best wide receivers in the area in the middle of their route. But anyway, he was a great defensive player. He played for me at Valley Forge, and he was dynamic. He played corner, he played slot receiver, but now he's gonna run the Boston Marathon, the New York City Marathon on all fours. He's gonna bear crawl 26 miles, and
you said it's going to take 20. You said it's going to take 26 hours. It's going to take.
It's 26 hours. It's 26 miles. It's going to take him 24 hours to do the marathon on all fours. Now the New York City Marathon might be canceled, but he's going to do the run anyway on November 1, I think.
Well, something tells me he might get arrested for doing that.
No. He's considered one of the best trainers in New York City. I'm just saying,
if you're a cop just sitting, driving around your car and you see some guy running by himself on all fours, I think he may get a talking to, but from like a policeman, and probably get some funny looks along the way. No.
Oh, well, if you look at his training tape, he's running over like the Brooklyn Bridge on all fours, and everybody's looking at him like he's crazy. But he was one of my great players at Valley Forge, and the story, if you read I think it was the New York Times. If you read the article, his dad had committed suicide, which is a really sad story. And then I actually had the kid at Valley Forge, but then the kid was really a unique kid. He went off I got him a full ride from where I coached him. He went to Long Island University on a full ride. He was a corner and started as a true freshman.
Wow.
And now we're 10 years. We are now 10 years after he graduated from Valley Forge, and now he's running the Boston Marathon, the New York City Marathon, and if New York City Marathon's canceled because of the COVID, he's going to run the 26 miles on all fours.
That's crazy.
Regardless of whether it's canceled or. So
we're gonna get this. We're gonna get this gentleman on with us in the next couple of weeks. So I got to hear this from the I don't even want to call him the dog's mouth, the horse's mouth, because you'd be running. It's quite a story. So I want one last topic I want to hit, and I know we're not going to get into the nuts and bolts of it because I know you don't follow it too much. But tomorrow night the UFC is doing a big pay-per-view show in a empty 15,000 seat arena in Jacksonville. Actually, the question I have for you is, how important is this event for the other sports? We talked about the NFL. Will it start on time or whatever? The NBA, they're still mulling over what to do. And the baseball, hockey, they're all mulling over what to do. How important is it for the UFC to do their shows? They're actually doing 3 shows in 1 week to come out. If they come out totally clean with no positive tests, how important will that be, in your opinion, in getting sports back into the circulation and back started again?
Any sports in this country right now is garnering an incredible attention. The draft itself was up 20, 30, 40% in first round, second round, third round. So anything live sports in this country is the ratings are going to be through the roof.
You think so?
Oh, I know so.
So I mean, you talk about the ratings being through the roof, but in terms of the just getting sports back into the thick of things, if everything comes out clean, you feel that the NFL, it may give them more of a green light to start?
Well, by them giving out money to ticket people who paid their tickets, makes me think it's going to be like attend at your own risk.
Attend at your own risk. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think that will be something to watch. Glenn, anything you want to say? Any other thoughts? We've been on here for about 35 minutes. Yeah, any other thoughts that they're going on your mind before we start up? I'm going to work on some guests for next week, and we'll get some great shows going. Any thoughts going into the weekend?
No, man. Peace out, my brothers.
See ya.